AaronFox is on his way to join the San Antonio Spurs after being traded in a three-team trade between the San Antonio Spurs, Chicago Bulls, and Sacramento Kings. As you guys all know already, I decided to get on the late show and record a podcast after I could kind of look at the landscape and see what other people think and see how the fans are feeling. And now I'm going to give you my quick take on what I think about this trade and if I think this was a good move. We're going to talk about that and more on this episode of Bleav in Kings. I'm your host, Mark Haynes. Let's go. Now, if I'm being honest, my first thoughts when I seen it, obviously, it was kind of semi shocker. I knew it was going down. If you guys paid attention to my last episode at all, you'll see my thumbnail is actually a picture of Zach LaVine and AaronFox. Did I know that? Maybe, maybe I didn't. But go ahead and look at it on the last episode. You'll see what I posted. It was at the Golden One Center, and Zach LaVine was checking out AaronFox shoes. That don't really have much of what we go talk about today, but I'm just saying, before I told you guys, sometimes I'm kind of like a prophet. And hey, things been working my way into my last few predictions. Like I said, AaronFox, obviously we know he's with the San Antonio Spurs now. I I was told that Harrison Barnes was in conversation with AaronFox. Not saying he was recruiting him or anything, but former teammates. Like I said, you ask for recommendations when you buy a car or live in and move to a different neighborhood. Maybe that's all that happened. He wanted to know what it was like in San Antonio, and now he's a member of the San Antonio Spurs. But everybody was surprised and somewhat blindsided by the deal and how it went down. Jordan McLaughlin, obviously, he's with the San Antonio Spurs going with AaronFox, but the Sacramento Kings get Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, who I really like, and he's the reason I like this deal. Obviously, you had to. It was Zach LaVine and 6 draft picks, three in the first round, 3 in the second round. One of those first round picks were protected, so the picks are cool. It's always good to have some picks or whatever, no matter when you have them. But bringing in Zach LaVine in a season where he's having a career year shooting the ball. He's averaging 24 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and he's shooting from the field. He's shooting 51% in a career, which is a career high, and another career high, 44% from three. So I think Zach LaVine is going to help this team a lot. I'll say a lot with their offensive struggles, just because of how the flow of the game I think really is going to fit Zach LaVine's style. He's a guy who can he's one of the most exciting players in the league when healthy and when playing. We know what he could do as far as dunking, but his shooting is underrated. And shooting is something that the Kings have struggled with all season, even though it's been, what the Kings want their identity to be. This moves Malik Monk to the point guard position. They get as this ain't the side like I see a lot of people wanted to get bigger, and this doesn't make you a huge team, but you do get bigger. Now you don't have your point guard and shooting guard both being 6'3". Zach LaVine is, what is he, 6'5", 6'5", something like that. And he's a guy that played with DeMar DeRozan in Chicago. It looks like, as people see from the social media post that DeMar posted, DeMar approves of having Zach LaVine here in Sacramento. And, basically the same lineup except for Malik Monk moving to the point guard position. And like I said, if Zach LaVine, if you could get the same Zach LaVine that you had in Chicago this year, meaning shooting at that high clip, his numbers could get his shooting numbers could get better because he's on a better team. He should be on a better team. And I think the Sacramento Kings will be better. They're sitting at 24-24 right now. Now, everything's even, at 500. A lot of people obviously hate to see AaronFox go. He's somebody that's meant so much to the Sacramento Kings organization. He helped get the Kings back into the playoffs after having the 16, 17, whatever year drought. He's at the top in the leading boards of all the statistics. He's going down. If he never comes back and play for the Sacramento Kings again, with what he's done in 7.5 seasons, he is one of the greatest Sacramento Kings of all time. Some may even say he's the greatest, but he's one of the greatest Sacramento Kings players of all time in the Sacramento era. And it's going to be hard to replace him, but I think the Kings still need to make another move. I think the Kings will make another move because they have to address the same issues that they had when Fox was there. They have to figure out how to get production from their bench. And right now, nothing's happened. Right? It's not going to work, but I like this move. I really like Zach. I think Zach LaVine is going to be a good fit. I disagree with a lot of people, as y'all can see, because I'm telling you about everything I like. I'm kind of surprised about the outrage that I'm seeing with this trade. Now, the Sacramento Kings, obviously, like when you look at everybody's trade generators and all that stuff, there were deals out there that were possible financially. But at the end of the day, these are people. And I'm not saying, because some people are like, well, we didn't have to give De'Aaron, De'Aaron got what he wanted to go to San Antonio. What about us? What about the Kings and stuff? And it's not necessarily all that. Like, these are people, and people have, it's things they can do. What if, the Kings are at 500 right now, right? With AaronFox, 24-24. What if De'Aaron said, if I'm not moved by the trade deadline, all right, I'm gonna just go sit out. I'm gonna get surgery. I'm gonna get my finger fixed, because we all know and see, we know about his finger. We know it's an issue. A lot of us blame that on, his shooting woes and stuff this year. But I'm not saying that's, what he said, but what if he said that? Would you be happy with having the same team with De'Aaron sitting out because he's having surgery? Because things can happen, is all I'm saying. But now, instead of having De'Aaron, who, like I mentioned, everything he meant to this organization, but having an unhappy AaronFox, a AaronFox that could have not gave you his best in the second half of the season, where you need to make a push to get into the playoffs or even the play-in? Or would you rather have a Zach LaVine who's getting a fresh start, a Zach LaVine who can fill some voids that, that De'Aaron wasn't able to fill this season? And when I say that, I'm dominantly talking about the shooting. The way Zach LaVine shoots the ball, the way he can make tough shots. Zach LaVine is a really good offensive player. And many will say that AaronFox is a much better defender. And I would have to say much better as far as this season and with the Sacramento Kings. He's in San Antonio. He's where he wants to be. Yeah, we might see an even better AaronFox. We might see an amazing AaronFox that you wish you had in Sacramento. But just in my opinion, the unhappy AaronFox that we've seen the past couple of weeks, I don't think that was a Fox that would have got the Kings to a place they want to be this season. It was a this was a situation, this was a deal that I said earlier in another episode. I said that this deal has to get done. It's too much talk about it. It's becoming too much of a distraction. And I think ultimately the Kings just decided to pull the plug and say, let's do it. Especially after you seen one day earlier the Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic trade between the Lakers and the Mavericks. That soon as that happened, and it's funny, everybody's talking about that tweet about, when Fox had posted the emoji of the mind blown thing, and the dude is like, don't go to sleep, you next, or whatever. Like that, that kind of, set the stage, in my opinion, too. I was like, this is going to happen. I felt like it was going to happen today, and it did. Like, I just didn't know. We didn't know the details. We just didn't know how it was going to happen. But I felt like it was going to happen today, and it did. And I think the Sacramento Kings got better. I think the Sacramento Kings made a move that can keep them heading in the right direction this season. Now, I understand you want the Castles of the world and some young guys and multiple more draft picks and stuff or whatever. Yeah, of course the deal could have been sweeter for sure. It definitely could have been sweeter. But that's from the outside looking in. I'm not saying this is a great trade. I'm just saying I'm satisfied with it because I think Zach LaVine is going to be a really good fit. I think if Zach LaVine gets here and the Sacramento Kings get on track, stay on track, however, I don't know how y'all feel about the season right now with them being at 500, but if they could get into the play-in or even the playoffs, because that's still possible if you believe, but that's still possible. I think Sacramento fans are really going to like Zach LaVine. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he's able to, stay healthy. And I think this is a solid deal. Could have been better? Maybe. But I don't think the Sacramento Kings are losing in the sense that many people are saying, and we won't know until they get out on the court, which could be tomorrow. We could see our first sighting of Zach LaVine in a Sacramento Kings jersey tomorrow against Minnesota. Or his debut could be at home against the Sacramento Kings. I mean, good God, with the Sacramento Kings at home in the Golden One Center. And I'm recording this. That's why I'm tripping right now. But I'm recording this at 1:27 in the morning because I wanted to be late. And I should have drank some coffee before I did it. But I just wanted to give y'all my take on this team and what's going on. And if I like this trade, which I do, I think it's cool. Could have been better. Of course, it always could be better. We want the best. But if you believe in the Kings, good things will happen. And that's my corny exit for the day. And you know me as always, your host, Mark Haynes. And this is the Bleav in Kings podcast. And until next time. Oh, speaking of which, pause. I got a special guest coming who I'm interviewing tomorrow, which would be Monday. I'll be interviewing him on Monday. Former Sacramento Kings player, former NBA stud, and was a star in college. I'm not going to tell you his name, but look out for my post. I'm going to post about it, obviously, right after I interview him. And he will be Tuesday morning's episode. So be on the lookout. Put your alerts on, like and subscribe to this channel. And this is the Bleav in Kings pod, Mark Haynes, and I am officially